Hey everyone, it's Minty, and today I'm going to be following along with Drawing with Waffles' new video, Things to Draw When You're Bored, and I guess we'll see if her ideas can inspire me. I'm starting out with the last idea that she gives in her video, which is to draw your favourite food as a character, or you could do yourself dressed up as your favourite food. I decided to go with the first option, but it took me quite a while to decide on what I'd actually draw. I ended up picking these chocolate brioche swirls because they've always been one of my favourites, and I had a pretty cool idea for the character. Lately, I've been obsessed with making characters who have hair that doesn't make any sense at all, and this time I'm making the hair look like it's the brioche swirls. I'm not sure if her hair is actually made out of the food or if it's just styled that way, but either way, I just love the look of it. I also gave her a bag of the food to make it even more obvious, and I drew a pretty simple sweatshirt, not anything fancy since there's clearly enough of that going on with the hair already. By the way, I'll be linking Drawing with Waffles' video in the description in case you haven't watched it yet and you want to. The reason I decided to try out her ideas in the first place was because all morning I was just scrolling through a list of video ideas that I'd written down, but I just didn't feel like filming any of them, and I thought that following along with Rin's video could inspire me, and it definitely did. I would have never thought to do this character design if it wasn't for her. Colour matching the hair to the food was pretty hard since I didn't have the right shade of brown, so I used yellow as a base, and then everything that I laid on top of that worked together really nicely. I drew swirls at the top of her hair and also at the ends of her hair, and then the hair in between was a little more normal, but it still had chocolate chips in it. Doing the line art of this was surprisingly the most enjoyable part of the whole process because it really brought together the whole concept of it being food but also hair because I could add in little strands. I'm not sure if this is my all-time favourite food because I haven't had it in ages, probably not even in years, but when I was younger it was definitely one of my favourites and I just thought it would be really cute to draw. Comment down below what your favourite food is and let me know if you tried this too. I bet your characters looked really cool. I wonder what I should name this character. Swirl? That's too simple. Maybe something to do with brioche, like Bria. Is that a name? Bria? I don't know if it is, but it sounds pretty, so let's go with it. Her name is now Bria. I would definitely make her an OC, but the problem is that her hair took ages to draw, and I don't think I would want to have to do that every time that I wanted to draw her. I guess I could, but then I'd also need to think of a better outfit, and maybe a personality and a backstory. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. You guys let me know what you think. Fun fact, I always used to call these brioches circle bread when I was younger, and it's just stuck with me ever since then. It makes sense because it is technically bread and it's circular, but I won't refer to it as that in this video because I think it's only me that calls them that and it might get a little confusing. I went with more of a soft look in this drawing because I decided not to use black line art at all, and I did the eyelashes with brown instead. I love the look of this, but I think it would only suit some of my drawings because sometimes they really need the eyes to pop and stand out with black. So that's the first idea done, and now I'm going to do one of Drawing with Waffles' ideas from the middle of her video, which was to draw something that's right in front of you or outside your window. So basically an observation. I'm drawing this empty hot chocolate thingy, and you might be wondering why I have that in front of me in the first place. I thought it would be cool to DIY it and maybe turn it into a money box by putting a slit in the lid, but I haven't got around to it, so that's why it's just been laying around. I used the same page to draw it on because I thought it would turn out better if it was smaller, and there wasn't much point doing it on a separate page anyway since the girl that I drew was already dessert themed, so it would fit well alongside her. Drawing with Waffles did hers in pencil, but I wanted to colour it as well and make it fit in with my art style. So I went with my usual process, laying down the colours quite messily and then fixing it with the line art on the top. Now that I'm re-watching footage of myself drawing this, I'm remembering that it was actually really fun, despite it just being an observational drawing. There's something about drawing real objects from life and then combining it with your help. What was I saying? There's something about drawing objects and then combining it with your art style so that it's not fully realistic, but yeah, I don't know, it's just satisfying. I simplified the tin quite a lot, especially with the little stickers at the bottom. I just drew blobs of colour, but I love how it turned out and I'm definitely going to be doing this more. So yeah, that's that, and now onto a brand new page to try out the idea that was first in Drawing with Waffles' video, which is drawing blob animals. What she did was draw some blob shapes, lightly in pencil, and then create an animal from that. by adding legs and facial features. She only coloured a few of hers, but I'm going to colour all of mine because for some reason I don't like having unfinished sketches in my sketchbook, even though that's kind of what a sketchbook is for, but yeah. The first one I chose to do was a pig, since it's pretty easy to translate into a cute blob animal, since the nose and the curly tail are enough to make it recognisable. But something about the way the face is literally plastered onto the body without having a head is kind of creepy, even though I tried so hard to make it cute, but I guess you could say that there's a fine line between those two things. Drawing with Waffles did dots for the eyes, which seemed a lot cuter, but I tried to do it and I just couldn't get them to look right, so I went with slightly more detailed eyes. I was going to add wings to the pig to make a little flying pig, but I completely forgot about that and I moved on to a frog. I chose a frog because I looked up cute animals on Pinterest and about half of the results were frogs for some reason. I also thought that the little legs would be so cute and the eyes would fit better since I can do them on top of the head and it wouldn't look so creepy. I used my favourite lime green marker and then went with a darker version of that for some minimal shading and some spots to add some details. I didn't enjoy the process of this one as much as I did for the previous two ideas, probably because I don't draw animals that much, whereas Drawing with Waffles seems to have a style for animals since she does practice them a lot more than I do. I did love colouring them though, because for the most part they were all one colour and I was just filling in a shape really easily without rushing to blend or anything, and it was really satisfying. Then I moved on to my next blob, which I made slightly bigger, and I couldn't think of any interesting animals to do, so I just went with a cat. These drawings also took quite a bit longer than I expected them to, even though they were so simple, so I didn't want to pick anything too hard because I was almost out of time to film. I chose a light brown for the cat and I added a few spots of darker brown, and again, it does look kind of weird to me. I guess this just isn't the style that I would choose if I was going to do it again. It was nice and relaxing though, so I still think this is a fun idea, and if you like drawing animals, then maybe drawing them from blobs would be a cool change. One thing that I do like about this one though is the legs and how it kind of looks like it's dancing. I also gave it a heart-shaped nose, which isn't very obvious, but it's a cute addition. I was originally planning on doing about 9 of these animal drawings, but as I said, I was running out of time, but I still wanted to fill the whole page, so for the next animal I chose an elephant. I would have made it even bigger, but grey is one of the coloured markers that I'm running out of, so I didn't want to make it too big and then have it run out of ink, so I went with the medium-sized one. And I was just going to leave it at that, but for the next idea I realised that I had space to do it on this page, so you'll see that in a second. I made the eyes pink to match the inside of the ears, but what colour eyes do elephants actually have? I'm assuming they just have black or dark brown. Moving on to the next idea. This one was to draw flowers, and Drawing with Waffles did hers in a really cool way by colouring a page in pink and leaving the flowers as white space, which I think is a really good idea. For mine, I didn't really have a plan. I started by dotting some yellow circles around to make the middle of each flower, and then I grabbed a random marker which ended up being this really desaturated pinkish colour. Probably not the best choice, but I went with it for the first one and then I switched to pink. Then I grabbed another colour which was purple, and all these colours I was grabbing from the pastel set so that they would still go together even though they were random. And I ended up using every type of colour pretty much. I don't think I ended up using green, but I had some different pinks, purples, blues and turquoises. I think it would have been nice to leave out the blue colours because the warmer toned ones were looking really good together already, but I think it still worked out in the end. If I used variations of pink and purple only, then they probably would have looked too similar and blended together a little bit, so the blue-green tones helped to separate them a bit more. Here's a nice quick time-lapse because I feel like it might be a little bit boring to watch me doing the line art in real time. I simply went over each flower with the same colour line art as the petals, and honestly, I didn't like it at all when it was at this stage. But then after that, I added in some white Posca pen over the top of it and also some more shading to each flower. So I changed my mind and now I actually love it. I realised that the footage kind of cuts off in a second, so you can't see the finished product, but at the end I'll put some footage of the results of each drawing idea. In conclusion, Drawing with Waffles came up with some amazing ideas, and they would probably be really helpful to anyone who's feeling a little bit bored or maybe an art block, because it definitely helped me. My favourite one was probably the character because, well, it's a character and that's what I love, and I really love how it turned out. The package of the brioches just look so tasty. So yeah, that's the end of the video. I know I didn't get around to all of the ideas that she gave in her video. I think I left one of them out. But yeah, go watch Drawing with Waffles' video if you haven't already. And here are the shout outs. And the shout out emoji is going to be whatever I put on screen. Thanks for watching. Bye!